Hi Kids Crew families. I just wanted to hop on here and make this video and explain how you can use your creation care review tubes that were in our last Kids Crew Toolkit and how you can use them to talk about the story of creation and how to take care of it with your child as we move into Earth Week. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so the first way you can use your review tubes is by lining them all up with the numbers like this. Now, if you weren't in Kids Crew, you'll notice that these have paper pictures on the top. These are actually located inside of your canister, and we glued them on during Kids Crew today. So you might want to do that before or after you read the story with your child. But they're inside of each canister, and go ahead and glue that on the top because you might want to use that for a different activity. But yeah, so the first activity is simply reading it, opening each canister, and touching and feeling what's inside. Now the story is located on the back of your cardboard piece, or I can link it down below. Well, I will, for you to read if you want to use this while you touch and feel and play together. In the very beginning, there was no world, until God thought, I'll make one. And so, on the first day of creation, God made the whole universe. It was pitch dark until God said, "Let there be light." So there was day as well as night. Oopsies. God loved the new light and laughed with joy and said that it was good. On the second day, God placed a blue dome of sky over the earth as a window for the light and to hold clouds, which would bring rain. God loved the sky and laughed with joy and said that it was good. At the start of the third day, the earth was no more than a lump of wet clay. So God molded mountains and plains, draining water from the clay to make deep seas. Then God planted the earth with trees and shrubs of every kind, with leaves and seeds and flowers and fruit. So on the third day, God made plants and the dry land and the ocean. On the fourth day, God made lights for earth, the sun to shine by day and the moon to shine by night, and the stars to guide and mark the days and the seasons. Oh, look, there's a star. Here's the sun. God was over the moon with them all, the stars and the sun and with the moon, and said that they were very good and laughed with joy. On the fifth day, God filled the sea with fish and other sea creatures to roam around the big seas. God also filled the sky with birds. God delighted in their grace and their color. And God said they were good and laughed with joy. On the sixth day was pretty much the busiest of them all. God said, "I'll make insects and plants and wild animals and snakes and cattle." And then, after seeing the garden of earth teeming with plants and animals, God thought, I need somebody to love and tend my world and everything in it for me. So God created grown-ups and children just like you and me with handprints, fingerprints, to love and care for it all. God stood back and said, "Wow, I sure have excelled myself." So, on the seventh day, God rested. So these items kind of serve to remind your child, and as they experience the different parts of creation in these little canisters, to remind them or to review the different days of creation. So you can continue to play with these items, you can put them back in the canister, but the other thing I wanted to show you about this is the memory game that you can do. So once these are all glued on top, this can be a great memory game, and you can put the things back in, you can do whatever you want with all of this. But if you want to scramble up all the days of creation, this game is a really fun memory game that you can play as a family, where you can try to line things up. Ooh, knock that over. And say you're having a really hard time figuring it out, which is fine. There's 7 days, that's a lot. You know, you're trying to think, did I do this correctly? I don't know. Well, if you check, do you know what you have to do? You have to start all over. So that's one way you can do the game. The other thing you can do as you touch and play with your review tubes is you can check the description box and look at the different ways that you can take care of God's creation. There's different ways that we can take care of the sky and the land and the sea and the plants and the birds and the fish and the animals and humans. And that's going to be kind of the focus of Earth Week, right? Is doing what God created us to do, is to take care of the earth and to take care of each other. And so we invite you to have those discussions as well this week as we move through Earth Week. Okay, friends, so I hope that you have some wonderful conversations through Earth Week about God's amazing creation and how we can take care of it. So you can read the story, you can play the memory game, and have those discussions, which I have down below. So go ahead and check those out. And if/when you'd like to recycle these canisters, I'm so glad they're getting a second use because they're mine from film photography, but now they have this craft, which is fun. But what you're going to do is take off the paper part and uncap the lid and make sure they're separate when you put them in your blue curbside recycling bins, because they're different types of plastic. Okay, well, have a wonderful Earth Week, friends. See you next week.